The PAF pickup, a tool that is about as welcome in any self-respecting metal guitarist's arsenal as a hot, wet fart from your geriatric grandpa at Thanksgiving dinner. But what if I told you your perception of the PAF pickup is all wrong? What if I told you that that PAF pickup is actually more like a loud, thunderous, cheek-clapping fart that travels from your grandpa's pancake butt to the chair, all the way into the floor and shakes the foundation of your home? But more importantly, it shakes the foundation of everything you thought you knew. So today, with the help of my friends at Sweetwater and Gibson, I'm gonna reveal the cheek-clapping secret that is the PAF pickup into a high-gain amplifier. Let's do it. All right, if you are still with me, guys, hope that you're doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name is Kyle. Welcome to Belligerent Studios. I take all sorts of awesome high-gain related guitar equipment, record it with a simple setup, and I give you the unprocessed audio on your end. And boy, are you gonna get a whole lot of unprocessed audio today, because I'm gonna show you why I generally prefer PAF-style pickups into a high-gain amp for tight and articulate metal playing. So for a very long time, the stigma around pickups was that if you are playing high-gain metal or rock or basically any sort of heavy music, that you needed a pickup that could really drive the input of your amp. Over the years, pickups have just gotten hotter and hotter to the point where they are obnoxiously so, and new pickup designs have slowly over time gotten hotter and hotter to the point where there are some pickups out on the market that have, frankly, an absurd amount of output. And if you talk to most experienced guitarists, you'll find that most of them prefer high output pickups when they are playing metal. That is what they will recommend. But me, being the oppositionally defiant piece of crap that I am, have to say that that is not the approach that I have taken for quite some time. And the way that I discovered this little happy accident that is the glory of PAF pickups into modern high gain metal amplifiers is through Gibson guitars. A lot of people who come around my channel know that I'm a huge fan of the way Gibson guitars sound and play. Did you hear me? The way they sound and play. And over the years of buying and selling and trying a lot of different Gibson guitars, I realized that whenever I would plug in a guitar that had really low output pickups, such as the PAF or the patent applied for pickup, which was essentially the original humbucker design, dating all the way back to the Les Paul and the 50s with Gibson. I don't even know where I started that sentence. And when I would play those PAF loaded pickups back to back with something, say, loaded with a Duncan JB or an SH6 distortion, there was always a very noticeable difference to me between low output pickups going into a high gain amp and high output pickups going to a high gain amp. And that primary difference was the PAF style pickup just seemed to have a lot more clarity and a lot more articulation, especially in the higher notes, and they were generally very tight pickups overall. And circling back around to guitarists generally preferring high output pickups when they're playing metal in modern high gain amplifiers, well, something that people don't really take into account all that often is that those high gain amplifiers are doing all of the heavy lifting, meaning they have more gain on tap than you could ever need, even with an extremely low output pickup. The reason that the higher output pickups exist is because back in the 70s and 80s, when people were trying to get more gain out of their amplifiers, they needed to be able to push the input of their amp in order to push more breakup. So that's why you saw pickups come on the market like the Super Distortion, the Duncan Distortion, the Duncan Invader eventually, that were essentially designed in order to push a mid or lower gain guitar amplifier, such as one of the Marshalls behind me, like this JMP, into a state of breakup that sounded much more high gain. So now that we have these amplifiers like the PV5150, the Mark V, and others that just have absurd amounts of gain and compression on tap, we don't really need those super high output pickups anymore. And depending on who you are, because remember, this is all my opinion, you may end up preferring the sound, the articulation, and the clarity of those lower output pickups. Now, one thing to keep in mind is these are all generalizations. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule. Not every high output pickup is gonna sound really thick and compressed and kind of dark in comparison to a PAF that is going to sound a good bit more open and give you lots of string clarity. There will be exceptions to both those rules. I know that. But today, I actually very, very carefully chose a set of guitars and amplifiers over here that I am going to compare to this guitar and using this guitar. And that's because this 2023 60s Gibson Les Paul Standard has been loaded with today's video sponsor, Sweetwater's new sugarbuckers. The sugarbucker is a custom set made just for Sweetwater by the custom shop folks over at Gibson, and they are a really, really good sounding PAF style pickup. Honestly, probably one of the best that I've ever played. I've had them installed in this guitar for about a day now while I've been kind of testing everything out. And I think once you guys hear the sound samples, you'll agree, these things just sound amazing. They're articulate. They've got that amazing PAF tonal quality to them. Glenn Fricker be damned. Hope you're doing well, Glenn. And yeah, every time I plug this guitar with these pickups into a very saturated high gain amplifier, it just brings a smile to my face. So thank you to Sweetwater for sending out a set of these sugarbucker pickups. And of course, I'll have affiliate links for these PAF pickups, these high output pickups, and a couple other of honorable mention PAF style pickups, because there are a ton out there and there are a lot that sound really good, and you can get them at Sweetwater. So without further ado, before this video gets too long like all of my other videos, these amplifiers and these guitars that you see here are all going to be put to the test against this guitar with the Gibson Sweetwater Sugarbucker in it, and I'm honestly super excited to do that. So let's go! All right, guys, so I have 3 awesome high gain amplifiers going into the same cabinet, and I also have on top of my Les Paul 60s standard here with the Sweetwater Sugarbucker in it. I have 6 other Les Pauls loaded with 6 different pickups, all high output and from a bunch of different manufacturers. So you guys will be able to see back to back how different this pickup sounds. Now, a couple things before I get started. I'm sure somebody's gonna have a problem with the way that I am doing this video, so I'm just gonna tell them, go ahead and make a video. I'm not even being a dick. But for real, if you think that there's a better way to do something, you should go out there and do it, because that's why I started my YouTube channel. And now look at me. So the rules of the road here are that I have the amp. We are gonna do the guitar comparison through the PV6534 Plus, but I have it set up a certain way, and I'm going to leave the settings exactly the same across all 7 of the guitars. That way you guys can hear the difference in voicing from guitar to guitar. So that's how we're gonna do the guitar portion. And then I'm just gonna show you a quick riff through each of these 3 amplifiers. All 3 of these amplifiers are high gain monsters. Everybody knows the 6534 Plus. The Mezza Barba Apocalypse here is an amazing Marshall Dano style boutique high gain amplifier. And then of course we've got the Mesa Boogie Mark V, which we will be on Mark IV mode. It's not confusing, you're confused. And yeah, all of those riffs will be recorded by an SM57 and from my friends over at SE Electronics, a VR1, which is a really nice dark full sounding ribbon microphone. Those are sitting atop gravity stands going through my Happy Cable Company cables into a Keeley Noble Screamer, basically a slightly modified TS9. And that is it. There are no other effects on. There are going to be no post-processing on any of the audio that you guys hear, so it's literally just gonna be back to back to back to back. Now for the pickups, I'm gonna go ahead and put up the individual pickup that is in each guitar as I'm playing them, and then output comes down to a lot more than just resistance and magnet type on pickups, but I'm just gonna list those 2 things for each pickup just so you guys know how they generally compare from a spec standpoint. And last but not least, I'm gonna start off by playing a series of chords, and then I'm gonna go into one of my band's riffs. I'm not gonna give you any of my opinions on how this sounds versus the other pickups or vice versa. I will save all that for the end of the video. I really do wanna hear when you guys are listening to this stuff. Put it down there in the comments and let me know what it is that you're hearing. I'm sure I'll have a lot of people even disagreeing with the fundamental basis of this video. I don't care. This is fun and you don't have to spend money. So without further ado, I'm gonna start with the Sugarbucker here and we're gonna cycle through. All right, guys, so that was the guitar portion, as you heard, back to back. How many times I gotta say that in this damn video? Here in the room, there were noticeable differences between each guitar and each pickup. But overall, what I heard from the PAF more so than anything is that it had more clarity. It might have been a little brighter and a little thinner than some of these thicker high gain or high output pickups, but the clarity that's there, you can kind of dial in a little bit more thickness, dial out a little bit more brightness on the PAF, but you can't dial clarity into a pickup that doesn't have clarity. So that's why I like the PAF. Dial to the guitar, dial to the pickup. If you're ever switching from one guitar to another and doing tests, it's only fair to dial in the amp for each guitar because they probably will sound different. But yeah, that is what I like about the PAF that you just can't get in a lot of higher output pickups. So now I'm gonna take the PAF loaded guitar and I'm just gonna play a riff real quick on each one of these, and you can see how it deals with each individual amplifier because each amp reacts differently to the guitars and the signal that is being put into it. high-end amplifiers, I'm not really gonna say too much. I kind of think that the results speak for themselves. Of course, it's gonna be different for you guys on that side of the camera and the microphone than it is here in the room, but I still am very, very curious what you guys have to say. What are the differences that you heard in playing this guitar through 3 different amplifiers that all kind of showed off different frequencies and different levels of clarity and saturation? Do you enjoy the sound of a PAF pickup for metal, or do you still think that it's a weak, wet, loose sphincter grandpa fart? Let me know using those exact words down in the comments. Huge thanks again to Sweetwater for sending out these sugarbuckers. These are an awesome sounding PAF pickup. Very high quality, lots of clarity. It's got the voicing. They sound mean. As a PAF pickup lover, I love these PAF pickups. So check the Sweetwater affiliate link down below for these pickups, the other pickups used in this video, and anything else that your little musical heart desires. I'm sleep deprived and I want pizza real bad, so I'm gonna get out of here. If you liked the video, hit the like button, hit that subscribe if you're not subscribed. Thank you so much for watching. Kyle here again. Pizza. Oh, wow. Pizza. Oh, wow. You! There was no help from you. Is actually more like a loud, thunderous cheap clap. That PAF pickup is actually more like a loud, thunderous, cheap, fuck, I can't say it right.